morning, students. In the last session of control and coordination chapter, we have learned that how reflex action is carried out and what is reflex arc, what is the difference between reflex action and normal action, and why there is a time delay between the receiving of stimulus and execution of movement in a normal action, and why there is no time gap in receiving of stimulus and execution of movement in a reflex action. Now let us learn about the spinal cord and its structure and what is its significant role, followed by what is central nervous system, what is peripheral nervous system, and what are their roles. Right? Okay. We have discussed that the input nerves and the output nerves both meet with each other for the first time at spinal cord. So spinal cord is made up of such type of nerves which can only supply the information, but they do not think about that information. Spinal cord is made up of such nerves which supply the information. Information supplying from where to where? From the sensory organs to the brain, and from brain to the motor organs or effector organs. So the information is basically moving through the spinal cord. In spinal cord, there is no thinking process that is carried out. Here there is a question. Why spinal cord only supplies the information but it cannot think about this information? There is an answer for this. In order to think about the information, more complex mechanisms and more complex neural connections are required. In order to think about the information, more complex mechanisms and more complex neural connections are required, and these more complex mechanisms and more complex neural connections, they are concentrated or just present at one particular location which we call brain. So more complex mechanisms and more complex neural connections are concentrated in which part of our body? That is brain. So brain is the organ which carries out thinking, and it forms or makes the decisions and coordinates the entire functioning of the body. That is the reason. That is the reason we call brain is the thinking organ and coordinating center of the body. Thinking organ and coordinating center of the body. Both spinal cord and brain together they form specific nervous system called central nervous system. Both spinal cord and brain together they form what? Central nervous system. And what is the role of the central nervous system? The central nervous system, it receives the information from different sensory organs and other internal organs, and it integrates. Integration means putting the information from all those sensory organs at one place. It integrates and it will be just discussing with each other, like if a particular task is assigned to different people, all those people will sit together and they share their information, and then they will come to a final conclusion about a decision how to enact on that given task. In the same manner, in this central nervous system, it receives the information and information is getting integrated and followed by decision is made. Decision is made in the form of a message to where if it is a voluntary action, to the skeletal muscles. If it is an involuntary action, to the visceral muscles. Right? Okay. So in this way, the central nervous system functions. So central nervous system is doing what? It is receiving the information as well as it is sending the information. So it is carrying out a two-way communication. A two-way communication between central nervous system and other parts of the body. So between central nervous system and other parts of the body, a two-way communication is mediated. How? The central nervous system is receiving the information as well as it is sending back the information. And the communication between the central nervous system and the other parts, the communication between the central nervous system and the other parts is mediated by another type of nervous system called peripheral nervous system. The communication between the central nervous system and other parts of the body is mediated by the peripheral nervous system. And the peripheral nervous system, it is made up of two types of nerves. They are cranial nerves and spinal nerves. Peripheral nervous system is made up of how many types of nerves? Two types of nerves. They are cranial nerves and spinal nerves. Cranial nerves are the nerves that are arising from brain. Means from the brain, the nerves that come out, so that the information is transferred from brain to the other parts. Those nerves are called cranial nerves. And the nerves that come out from spinal cord are called spinal nerves. Okay, right. So, coming to the brain. How is the brain functioning? And any function by any particular thing, it is definitely based on its structure, because form correlates with function. So, what is the function of brain? Thinking. First integrating the information, then thinking, then decision making. So in order these all activities to be carried out, brain has got a complex structure of three parts. What are those parts? Forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. Brain has got a complex structure of three parts. They are forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. Okay. These three parts are responsible for integrating the information and followed by thinking about that information and followed by decision making. So these three parts are responsible for what? Receiving the information, integrating the information, thinking about the information and followed by decision making. Coming to each and every part. Okay. Right now we will discuss a little bit about the forebrain. Forebrain is the largest part in our brain. Okay, forebrain is the largest part from here to here, entire. Okay, as it is present in front of the entire total brain. In the total brain, it is present in front. So it is called forebrain, right? Like our forearm, like our foreleg, whichever that is in front, that is called fore. So in the brain, whatever the part that is present in front, that is forebrain. This is also called cerebrum. Forebrain is also called cerebrum, and cerebrum is the largest part of the brain. It is the only thinking part of the brain. It is the only thinking part of the brain, right? Okay. And this cerebrum has got certain special regions. What are those regions? Regions that receive the sensory impulses. Means from sensory organs, different types of information is received by these regions. Then another part, different areas to receive the information of different sensory organs. Okay, so same thing only like sensory inputs, smell, sound, light, taste, touch. These are the 5 different types of sensory inputs. For all these different types of sensory inputs, separate regions are present which will receive the sensory inputs from these different areas. And then areas of association. So for receiving separate sensory input, separate areas are there. But for all these areas, okay, there is some joining place. So those places are called areas of association of those different areas, right? And what is their function? They will integrate the information from all these different sensory inputs, and it will integrate the information not only with the other areas but also with the stored information. So integration is done between what and what? Between the information of different sensory inputs. That is one thing. And the information of different sensory inputs and the stored previous information. So in the past experiences, we all will be having some knowledge. That knowledge is stored in the brain. So the information of present, time, it is integrated with the information of the previous stored information. So the areas of association, it is integrating the information between the different sensory inputs, right? And it is integrating the present information of the sensory inputs with the past information of the sensory input, which is stored already in the brain. Okay. So with all these integration, finally a decision is made, right? A decision is made, and this decision is sent to the motor areas. So there are two different areas in the brain: sensory areas and motor areas. Sensory areas, what do? They take the information from the sensory organs. Motor areas, what do? They also take the information, but not from the sensory organs, but from the decision making areas of the brain. From the decision making areas of the brain, the motor areas will receive the information. Why? Because these motor areas will control and coordinate the voluntary movements of our body. So voluntary movements are carried out by what? Skeletal muscles. So this information is sent to the motor areas of the brain, and these motor areas will control the movement of voluntary muscles or skeletal muscles. This is about the brief description of the functioning of forebrain. Other functions of the forebrain and functions of midbrain and hindbrain we will discuss in the next class. Thank you.